there's so many of them to fold.
Are you guys just fine with this becoming like a cleaning channel?
This is so much clothes. I can't even organize it. Okay. But maybe I could do a little Q&A, but I just come up with the questions, like a little get to know me, like author newbie tag. Is that a tag? Maybe I should like look up questions and actually do a tag. I realized that there definitely is such thing as like a writer newbie tag, so I'm just gonna do that. I like to just jump right in and pretend that I'm already established, but you know, it might be good to do like a formal intro instead of just like making you decipher who I am through like vague, offhanded comments. So I literally watched one person do this, so I don't even know if theirs is like the standard. So the first thing is about me. I'm Alyssa. I live in the Midwest. Graduated from college about a year ago with like a communications media degree. Currently I work in video production, like doing videos for companies and stuff like that. I don't really know what else there is to say. I do a lot of writing. I mean, I've always liked to tell stories and, you know, all the cliche things that everybody says. When I was reading The Hunger Games, and I was really upset about the third book for several reasons. There's one death I'm never gonna justify, but as a middle schooler, I was so enraged and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna write this myself. Oh my gosh, you know what it was? In 7th grade, I wrote this like really dark thriller that was very dark for a 7th grader. Like started with like a murder in the woods, and there was like kidnapping and like a lot of death, like buildings were burning down, people were getting into fatal car accidents. Like it was very bad. Thinking back on it now, if I was a parent, my biggest writing struggle is the sentences here. But here's the thing, I'm not very good at like writing sentences. I'm much better at forming characters and plot lines, and like dialogue I'm pretty decent at. That's something I struggled with for a long time. That was natural dialogue. It's still something I have to really work on. Always been a struggle for me. Grammar, so my God, grammar can kiss my little ass. So something interesting, my entire elementary school was in Spanish. I was in a Spanish immersion class. Like obviously we still spoke English, but like my math and science and reading and all of my core subjects were taught in Spanish by teachers from like Argentina and Peru. And so I'm like semi-fluent in Spanish. But the problem with that is when the time where you're supposed to learn like basic sentence structure and grammar, I was in Spanish class. So I was learning Spanish grammar and Spanish sentence structure, which is just slightly different. I think it's probably like a conceptual like idea kind of stuff, because it's like I think in my head I'm like, oh, characters, but then I'm like, characters always are such a struggle for me. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, plot development, but then I'm like, but is it though? So I think really like ideas on a larger scale, seeing the story of it, right, how everything comes together to a bigger picture is what I enjoy the most. I don't know if it's what I'm the best at, but that's what always like brings me back. Like when I'm watching shows or when I'm reading books and I see all of the threads coming together, like that is such a beautiful moment. Can I always like put them together perfectly myself all the first time? Absolutely not. I give an outline of events to happen. I don't do that so much with scenes. So I pants the scenes, but I have the plot. I also write the last page first, which is a tip that I saw in like some Forbes article somewhere, because it always gives me somewhere to go. So I give myself an outline to follow, but I pants the scenes themselves. And it's funny, then later in revisions, I end up plotting out the scenes anyway and kind of rewriting them so that there's internal scene structure. I think internal scene structure is something I didn't really realize you had to have. And then when I started reading a lot, I noticed like, oh, I should do this. Like there needs to be internal scene structure. Right now I write thriller, suspense, not mystery. I'm horrible at mysteries. I'm trying to get better at it. A little bit of young adult, I guess. I read mostly fantasy though. And I think the book that I'm writing right now is a thriller. It is a thriller, but it feels more like a contemporary thriller. Like the thriller is equally as important as the romance, and the romance is as equally important as the thriller. Like they're kind of on even footing, whereas I think a lot of thrillers, like this romance is a subplot, and then in books that are more contemporary, the romance is the main plot, and there's like maybe a thriller subplot happening. Like I just read Archer's Voice, and that's definitely the case there, where there's like some thriller elements, but it's like really in the background. And I feel like mine, they're more even footing, but it is, if you had to order it, a little bit more thriller than it is romance. That's the genre that I write in. I would love to write a fantasy one day. World building scares the shiitake out of me. I read a dystopian novel in high school, I guess, but. I've been watching Authortube since I was in middle school. I mean, I watched a lot of iWriterly and Abby Emmons, just like kind of like craft stuff since college. I didn't really watch a lot of YouTube in college. Yeah, and now I watch a lot more vlog style content. It's so helpful for me to hear other people talk about writing. I don't know why, like I just need it sometimes. And the reason I decided to get in it is I was watching a lot of it and I was like, hey, I could do this. Like, and also I was in kind of a writing slump. And I was like, you know what would really motivate me to do this is to film myself doing it. It is a vanity thing and it's something I'm working on and it's fine. But some sort of like entertaining kind of thing. And I also knew that I had the video skills. And so I was like, I should just give it a shot and see what's poppin'. Also, I'm just looking to build a lot more writing community. I live in the Midwest and I have people in my life who are writers, but it's difficult to find connections with other writers. My goal is for sure to post once a week. I'm kind of doing something weird where sometimes I post on Sundays and sometimes Thursdays. So really, for sure something most Sundays. I aim for every Sunday, but if I can't, that's fine. I also, if I have enough content ready to go, I'd love to be in a pattern where I'm posting on Sundays and on Thursdays. In terms of content, I do a lot of writing vlogs. That's what like forces me to sit my butt in a chair and get the words on the page. So I'd like to do a lot of that. And then my other goal is to make like sort of investigative writing videos. I also read a lot, so I like to do things based on reading. So for sure reading wrap-ups every month, and then a couple of investigative videos. So my video that did much better than I thought it would was my AI video. So I work in the video tech space. So we've started incorporating AI into our operations. And so I investigated how AI can be a tool. Is it gonna be a help or a hindrance to creative writing, all that kind of stuff. And then I also did a video where I ranked writing advice. I have one coming up soon where I read a bunch of closed door thrillers. So like thrillers where there's like 5 or 6 people trapped in a room together or trapped in a location together, and investigating that. It's like a reading vlog, but it's through the eyes of writing. So how can we incorporate things from books like that or tropes like that to like make our writing stronger, to figure out how to write suspense better, like that kind of stuff, investigating what works, what doesn't. And also just something else to note, I'm probably not going to be too specific on any of my projects, and that's why my content isn't solely going to be vlog focused. I watch a lot of channels where it's like 80% vlogs, which is amazing, and I love to watch them because they give updates on their projects, they give a lot of details about their projects and their process and where they're at with drafting, and I'll do updates on where I am with drafting, what draft I'm on, how things are going, but I'm probably not going to give any specifics on what the book is actually about, who the characters are, anything like that. But for me, I just need it to be for me right now. And also, I don't want to spoil it. Am I looking for beta readers? Absolutely. Not for this second, I'm not quite at a point yet. But what I did do is I made a Google form because I'm a nerd. It only has a few questions, but just things like, what genres do you typically read and write in? Like, do you have any references? Are there any pieces, like types of content you want to avoid? What kind of edits do you bring? And so I'm hoping that with that, I can kind of bring in the right mix of beta readers. I've put the link of that form in the description. So if you're interested right now, please, I would love a beta reader. And also not even just beta readers, if you're also interested in like a critique partner as well, that's something I would love to do. But yeah, I just thought I would make that just to kind of keep all of my ducks in the same row. Is that a sentence? Again, the sentences are not what I'm strong at. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, for getting to know me a little bit more. If you've got an Authortube, drop it down below. I would love to check it out. I like to just watch a lot of different writers to make me feel like I'm not crazy and going crazy. So if you also want to feel like you're not insane, feel free to follow along.